Welcome to APush for 5, your shortcut to mastering the AP U.S. history exam. Let's jump into period 4, 1800 to 1848, where America transformed through democracy, reform, and growth. Question 1. Stimulus. Broadside announcing a new textile mill, 1836. Employment for industrious girls of good character. Board and wages provided. Question. The advertisement above most directly reflects A. Growing political agitation among female workers for labor union recognition. B. The moral regulation of women's wage labor within a paternalistic factory system. C. Expanding economic opportunities for women in early industrial society. D. The replacement of female textile labor by immigrant men following the Panic of 1837. The correct answer is C. Expanding economic opportunities for women in early industrial society. The Lowell system offered women new wage work outside the home, though still bound by moral codes. Political activism and federal labor policies came later and remained limited. Question 2. Stimulus. Political cartoon. Irish laborers at the docks, 1845. An illustration depicts Irish immigrants unloading ships as native workers look on resentfully. Question. The sentiment expressed most directly led to A. Urban labor reforms that sought to integrate Irish workers into skilled trade unions. B. Legislative efforts to limit Catholic immigration through federal naturalization quotas. C. The rise of anti-immigrant political movements, such as the Know Nothing Party. D. Organized campaigns by factory owners to recruit immigrant workers as strikebreakers. The correct answer is C. The rise of anti-immigrant political movements such as the Know Nothing Party. Economic anxiety and anti-Catholicism fueled nativist mobilization rather than labor reform. Irish immigrants entered low-wage jobs, not positions of authority or expanded voting rights. Question 3. Stimulus. Excerpt from a Boston minister's sermon, 1843. Our cities swell with strangers who neither share our faith nor our customs. Question. The perspective above exemplifies A. Evangelical reformers believed that moral decay stemmed from urban poverty rather than immigration. B. Nativist fears that immigration threatened Protestant moral order. C. Calls for stricter Sabbath observance to unify moral standards among diverse urban populations. D. Efforts by social reformers to promote interfaith harmony through public education campaigns. The correct answer is B. Nativist fears that immigration threatened Protestant moral order. Ministers tied civic virtue to Protestantism, viewing Catholic immigration as a social danger. Revivalism expanded religion's reach but did not celebrate pluralism. Question 4. Stimulus. Urban Census Table, 1840 to 1850. Data showing New York's population doubling while manufacturing employment triples. Question. The data above best support. Which conclusion? A. Industrialization spurred massive urban growth, fueled by immigration and rural migration. B. Federal investments in internal improvements indirectly shifted labor from agriculture to manufacturing. C. Urban crowding reflected stagnating agricultural productivity rather than new industrial opportunity. D. Economic expansion was evenly distributed as southern cities matched northern industrial output. The correct answer is A. Industrialization spurred massive urban growth, fueled by immigration and rural migration. Industrial centers became magnets for workers, demonstrating the market revolution's urban pull. Federal infrastructure and regional parity played only secondary roles. Question 5. Stimulus. Editorial in the Working Man's Advocate, 1835. The factory system grinds men into machines while the rich grow fat from our sweat. Question. The excerpt reflects A. Endorsement of moral reform movements to address vice among the working poor. B. Faith in market competition as a mechanism for social mobility and equality. C. Support for voluntary associations to harmonize relations between labor and capital. D. Growing class consciousness and early labor protest in the industrial economy. The correct answer is D. Growing class consciousness and early labor protest in the industrial economy. Early unions and reformers condemned wage slavery as incompatible with Republican equality. The other options contradict the editorial's anti-capitalist tone. Question 6. Stimulus. Diary of a Middle-Class Woman, 1842. My husband works long hours, yet our home must be a refuge from the world's vulgarity. Question. This passage best illustrates A. The emergence of the cult of domesticity, defining separate spheres for men and women. B. Early feminist critiques of domesticity as a form of gendered confinement, i.e. C. Anxiety over declining family cohesion among lower-class laborers. D. Religious reformers' belief that moral virtue could only be achieved through public engagement. The correct answer is A. The emergence of the cult of domesticity, defining separate spheres for men and women. Middle-class women's roles became moral and domestic, reinforcing gender boundaries. Feminism and working-class resistance were different social responses. Question 7. Stimulus. Revival Sermon by Charles Finney, 1835. God has made man a moral agent. He may choose salvation or ruin. Question. Finney's message exemplified which broader trend? A. A reaction against popular revivalism favoring predestination and Calvinist doctrine. B. The rationalist embrace of human reason as the sole source of moral guidance. C. The rise of religious skepticism associated with urban industrial elites. D. The democratization of religion through the Second Great Awakening. The correct answer is D. The democratization of religion through the Second Great Awakening. Finney's appeal to individual choice reflected a populist theology consistent with Jacksonian democracy. Rationalism and deism moved in the opposite direction. Question 8. Stimulus. Poster for a temperance rally, 1840. Come pledge with us against the poison that ruins homes and souls. Question. The temperance movement reflected A. Working-class resistance to middle-class moral reform through temperate self-regulation. B. Political debates over excise taxes and federal authority to regulate trade in spirits. C. A secular attempt to protect domestic tranquility through voluntary neighborhood associations. D. Evangelical reform efforts to impose moral order amid rapid social change. The correct answer is D. Evangelical reform efforts to impose moral order amid rapid social change. Temperance linked morality, class respectability, and self-control, key tenets of middle-class reform. Opposition to taxation and leisure reform came from critics, not advocates. Question 9. Stimulus. Report by Horace Mann, 1846. Education is the great equalizer of the conditions of men. Question. Mann's argument supported A. State collaboration with religious seminaries to reinforce moral discipline in education. B. Publicly funded common schools to foster civic virtue and mobility. C. Expanding apprenticeship programs to promote technical skill over intellectual cultivation. D. Private academies offering classical instruction to cultivate a new urban elite. The correct answer is B. Publicly funded common schools to foster civic virtue and mobility. Mann's reforms advanced public schooling as a Republican duty promoting equality. The other options emphasized exclusivity or private education. Question 10. Stimulus. Report on Asylum Conditions, 1843. Dorothea Dix describes cells of filth and despair where the insane are left to perish unseen. Question. The reform described above was part of A. A religious backlash against secular reform and state intervention. B. A progressive-era effort to introduce federal standards for mental health care. C. A humanitarian campaign to improve institutions for societies marginalized. D. An economic movement promoting private hospitals as alternatives to state funding. The correct answer is C. A humanitarian campaign to improve institutions for societies marginalized. Dix's moral mission exemplified the reform spirit of the era, emphasizing compassion and rehabilitation. The alternatives misplace chronology or motive. Thanks for watching APush for 5. Let us know in the comments which questions you like the most. If today's practice helped you, tap like, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss any future videos. And share this with a friend who's also aiming for that 5. If you want more hands-on learning or direct feedback, reach out directly. We'd love to help you take your prep to the next level. See you in the next video.